Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Max. So let's talk. Man, my boy. Come on, Kodak. We got to do better than this, man. It's Kodak Black. He back under those silver bracelets once again. Yeah, he got caught this time with about 50 oxycodone pills. Probably had it bagged up, I guess, because they tried to give him a trafficking charge. So this is a drug trafficking charge. And this is the same dude who got a presidential pardon back in 2019. He made a claim. I guess he gave some false information to try to purchase this weapon or whatever, and they got him on that. He was looking at 4 years, and that's what he got the pardon for. So now here he is, right back in the same situation, but he don't have Donald Trump in office who's looking to use him as a political pawn. See, that was done for a reason. Donald Trump he didn't give that dude a pardon because he liked Kodak Black music. He didn't do that because he liked Lil Wayne music. He did that as a strategy. So whenever he get into this hot situation that he in right now, he can call on some of these people. Hey, I need a favor. Remember what I did for you, right? See, that's what Lil Wayne's coming into play. This next election that's coming up that Donald Trump's talking about running in, I'm pretty sure that Lil Wayne and if Kodak Black get out of this situation, both of them are going to be some considerable donors for him. See, this is all done by strategy. That's why he did what he did. And now Kodak Black has put himself back in a position to where if he don't, I don't know. I don't know what's going to get him out of it. He got a lot of charges pending against him. They definitely going to try to make an example of him. You know how the hip hop cops are. And so he just put himself right back at square one. So my thing is this. What I really want to talk about is the fact of how the music industry, and I'm talking about those 6 or 7 different large networks that own all of the music, all of the artists and stuff. This right here is exactly why they gear the music industry towards the youth. This is exactly why when you hit a certain age in hip hop, you are considered an old head and you are obsolete because your influence and power has went away. It's diminished for the youth to influence the youth. The youth are the most influential. And another thing is this: whenever they bring these young kids in, they're so excited and they're so hyped about becoming a star that they sign these contracts not knowing what they're getting themselves into, and they'll forego taking the time to properly do it because they're so hyped up and they in their emotions and all of this stuff because they're young and they don't understand the severity of signing paperwork without understanding what they signing. This is exactly what Megan Thee Stallion was ranting about with her label. That was her whole thing. She was upset that they gave her a standard contract. Well, nobody knew that Megan was going to become what she became. And so they was taking a chance on that. And when she did, now at that point where she could have renegotiated, they wanted to stay strong to their contract. But that's the business. That's how the business goes. And if you get in this game and you don't understand the business, which they bet on a whole lot of the time, then you get in those offices and they give you whatever you like and they entice you to the point to where you're just so in a euphoric state that they slide that paperwork right in front of you. We all saw the video of Meek Mill whenever he was signing with Rick Ross and how uncomfortable Rick Ross looked whenever Meek Mill was over there just looking like a deer in the headlights. And now you fast forward, and now Meek is at odds with Rick Ross because Rick Ross knew on that day when we saw him shuffling his hat uncomfortably while Meek Mills was signing that contract. Now we know. Now we see what it was. And these young kids coming into this industry, that's why our youth are targeted. Our youth are targeted because they do not have the sense or the mind to go into the industry saying, hey, well, hold up, before I sign that, let me get somebody to look at this. Or, hey, I don't understand what this is saying, so I'm going to get somebody to check this out first. No, they go in head first because you promised them all of this stuff, promised them the world, you promised them all the wow. They promise you everything that Satan promised Yeshua when he took him up on that mountain peak, when he took him up on that high place, in that high place, and he promised him all of these things. That's the same exact thing that the music industry is doing with our youth, taking them up in this high building, telling them to look out across the city. All of this can be yours if you just do this, if you just bow down and worship me. And most of the time they will. The ones that don't, then they get outcasted. The ones that start off strong and then once they realize what's going on, they start to put the brakes on, they fall off and they fall to the wayside and you don't hear about them no more, and they call them one-hit wonders. The ones that speak out about it are turned into a crazy person and said to have mental health issues whenever they start telling too much truth. Orlando Brown, Raz B. I'm just saying. So now we have Kodak Black, who's put himself back in a situation to where even if he does get out of this, how much money is he going to have to spend? And how much money is he losing while going through these legal issues? See, it's like having a hole in your pocket. You may be getting all of this money, but it's like soon as you put it in your pocket, it fall right out, dude, and you give it right back to the companies. You give it right back to those lawyers that was suggested to you by those labels and stuff, knowing that those lawyers are connected to that label, and the label gets a fee for suggesting that lawyer or having that lawyer on retainer for that artist who's bound to get into some type of trouble. See, these are the things that are unspoken, and these are the ways that these young children are being exploited by the music industry. They don't know no better, and the more ignorant, the more better it is for the industry. They're making billions of dollars off of these dudes murdering each other, and they're gonna play it every opportunity they get. Why? Because it's influential to the youth. It's not influential to us old heads. Us old heads done been around that block. We was influenced by the young artists that they used back in our day. When I was coming up, the young artists back in my day was NWA, Ghetto Boys, all of them. I came up in that era. So that group of young guys influenced me back then. Now that I'm older and they're older and everybody sees what's going on, it's kind of too late to try to tell the youth, because now they're trying to follow in our footsteps and they ain't trying to hear nothing, because that industry got them. Soon as they show them that image of having more than you ever had before and getting up out of the bad, poor living environment that you're in, who's not going to go for that? And whose mama is not going to be behind that, because they see it as, my child not out here in these streets anymore, and my child is not having to walk down these streets and protect themselves from people trying to rob everybody, only to find out that their children now have to do that same exact thing in the industry that they work in. You know, it used to be a good thing to get out of the hood, and when you get into the music business, you made it. You don't have to do none of that stuff no more. But now you have to do even more of that stuff when you get in the music business, or stay consistent with what you was known for out in the streets. Because if you don't, that is your vitality. You will not last if you don't keep that street image. And so that means you keep that whole heat. You keep all of that potential to die early, and they're gonna make so much money off of you when you die. And they're climbing over each other to get into the music industry so that they can die. Hand over fist, you have young kids out here trying to be the next Kodak Black or trying to be the next whoever. So I mean, what are we really teaching our children? Why would we see Kodak Black as a role model for our children? Because even though he has done what we considered making it, he's still carrying out that same mentality. He's still carrying out those same actions as if he was still in the hood, as if he was still under those conditions. So what is he really teaching anybody? Nothing. What is he really inspiring anybody to do? Nothing. He's inspiring our kids to go out and do drugs, go out and shoot guns, go out and do all of the things that's rapped about. And he teaches them that it's okay to be angry and to take your frustrations out on others instead of dealing with your own issues and working through things. But you know that's not going to sell. We know that's not going to sell if he do try to do records like that, because they have him under this contract, and in that contract it says that he has to promote violence, he has to promote destruction, and if it is not to the label's requirement, then they will not put that album out, and he will owe them a certain amount of money that they pay him up front to get this album done. And that's how they ensnare them with those advances and that upfront money and all that stuff like that, so that they can keep up the image of being larger than life, when in actuality they're not. Because if in fact Kodak Black was trafficking pills, why would he need to sell pills if he's making all of this money? If you're wearing jewelry that's supposedly costing millions of dollars, why would you be selling drugs? So that whole narrative doesn't even line up. So somebody's lying. Either the police are lying about him selling drugs or trafficking drugs, or he's lying about how much money he's making in the rap game. Somebody's lying. Somebody's not being honest here. And so we have to make sure that our children see this. Let's put this on Front Street. Let's talk to our kids about this stuff, because it's very important for them to understand what the music industry's goal is, what their main goal is, especially for our black artists today. You really don't see any R&B artists. Who name a male R&B artist that has come out recently? I can't think of any at all. At all. Everybody is hard. Everybody's a thug. Even our R&B artists is Crips and Bloods now. Chris Brown is a blood, and you can't find anybody who's just being themselves without having to identify with some type of group. You got to have some type of acronym on the beginning of your name in order for you to be relevant in this industry. It's crazy. It's You have to identify with a certain group, and that ushers you right into identity politics. It's the same exact thing. Oh, I'm a part of this group. I represent this. So everything that this group does, I'm going to condone it whether I agree with it or not, because this is my group and I would just want to be a part of something. That's the exact same thing with the Republican and the Democratic Party. That's exactly the same mindset, same mentality, the same strategy, all that. And they're conditioning you slowly through these identities of these different groups that don't mean anything. OTF, YSL, all of this stuff don't mean nothing. All of it, you will know, I take that back. It does mean something. It's an identifier and an indicator for the police whenever they want to attach your name to criminal activity. That's what it is. It's a gang moniker, something that they can use to label you as a gang so that they can prosecute you and deal with you under the domestic terrorism laws and policies. That's what that is. So you're just doing their job for them by labeling yourself as a gang. This is why they target the youth. This is why the music industry targets people who are in their teens now. Used to be it was artists would come in about 19, 20 after high school, because back in the days, like Parents was big on that. No, you finish high school and this and that. Now, that's their ticket. That's their ticket out, and they don't care about school or nothing else. After that, they once they get that recording contract and they get that advance, if they already out there thugging in the streets like that, their parents wasn't worried about them going to school more than likely in the first place, because that gang lifestyle is not conducive with school hours. And so, these kids are out here just running around with all of this free time, nothing else to do with their time, nothing else on their mind, because their thinking is limited because of their limited amount of education. And so they find themselves in a lot of trouble. When you give kids resources and a lot of time, they are going to find a way to get themselves in trouble. And trouble is going to bring what? Police is going to bring fees, is going to bring court costs need to be paid, lawyers to be paid, all of this money going out, all of this money that this kid generated through their music is now going back to all of these industries and keeping them up and running and keeping them going lively. This is what's keeping our judicial system as powerful as it is, and keeping it going. You think about all of the money that they're generating from all of these artists that are on trial right now. Look at every rap artist right now. Think about how much money each one of these artists make. Think about all of the legal issues that they've been through that you heard of in the papers or in the headlines, and think about how much of that money is being sucked right back into the penal system through them trying to stay out of jail, trying to stay out of prison. And they're constantly doing things. Boosie just got pulled over again in Georgia, and he said, yeah, they harassing them, but if you know that they harassing you, why is you giving them a reason to take money out your pocket again? You not moving right. Don't keep getting mad at them. At some point, you got to start blaming yourself, boo. You got to start blaming yourself. You know they harass you. You know they like to pull you over. You know as soon as they run your tag and see that it's you, what it's going to be. So why is you riding around smoking blunts? Why don't you smoke before you get where you going? And then where you going, make sure they got something there for you to fire up soon as you get there. Or something for you to roll up soon as you get there. Because now I don't trust nobody rolling up nothing for me before. I like to see mine roll. So, but have somebody wherever you headed to, make sure they got you some green there. Make sure they got you some doty. But you driving around smoking blunts, that's just an ego thing, bro. You not moving smart, bro. So they banking on that because they about to get some fees off of that. They about to go ahead and take it to court and get their little change off that. So y'all constantly giving that money right back to them. Y'all bragging about it and holding up your money phones and spreading it out across your arm and all of that. But all of that is falling right back into the daggone judge's pockets, the lawyer's pockets, and everybody else who's involved in that process. And y'all ain't getting that money back. You can't write that off on no taxes. That's why they target the youth. That's why they not going to sign no 27-year-old rapper, because somebody at 27 years old going to have some sense and a little bit of understanding to be like, nah, we need to make sure that this paperwork is right. We need to make sure that I'm getting everything that I'm supposed to get. Well, I was just reading up on this right here, and it says it's so and so. They don't want to deal with somebody who's on it like that. They want to deal with somebody who have these fabricated ideas, who get lost in the limelight and are so lost in the limelight that they're not paying attention to none of the things that's going on behind the scenes. We've heard so many cases of it. We've seen it so many times. So there's no way that we can deny that this is what takes place. And this is exactly why they target our youth. And so before you allow your child to go into the music industry and they have some of these record labels that are interested in them, mothers, fathers, really slow your child down and get them to understand that these people are about to use them in a way that is going to make them feel some type of way. These people are going to challenge them to go against everything that they believe or make them promote what they already believe, because there's some satanic demonic people in the music industry. They was like that before they even got in there. Lil Uzi Vert being one of them. So, some of them are just comfortable in that spot. But if you're not that type of person, and if you was raised on different types of values and morals, then they're going to challenge you to go against what you believe in, and that's where the whole selling your soul concept comes in. And a lot of people do it, a lot of people don't. Some groups are split up because one person wanted to and the other people didn't, vice versa. So that's just how it goes. But when you get to a certain level, Kodak Black, when you get to a certain level in this industry and you get to a certain level of notoriety, there's some things that you're going to have to put down. There's some things that you're going to have to let go of if you want to maintain the lifestyle that you cultivated for yourself. Then there's some things that you're gonna have to let go, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm not on here to bash you or anything like that. I'm just on here pointing out the obvious to our youth and pointing out the obvious to the parents of these youth who are being victimized by the music industry. And that's exactly what is happening. They're really being victimized because they're being exploited for a gain, and they're not really even getting a fair share of anything that's being made off of them, and they're losing their lives in order to get it. That's a form of slavery. It is absolutely a form of slavery. And so just think twice before you allow your child to go into this slavery. Be sure that you are going to be there to pick up the pieces whenever this industry chew that child up and spit them out like it's done so many. I'm talking to the parents. But that's what it is, man. Kodak, if you get out of this, then be ready for a favor from Donald Trump. That's the reason you got the pardon in the first place. And just because you wasted it don't mean that he's not going to call in that favor still. So just be prepared. You, Wayne, all the rest of them, because he coming for that favor. But this is your boy D-Mac, man. I'm about to get out of here. You know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.